Hello. Uh, Today we are going to discuss about the neurotransmission. So, how this neurotransmission occur, how the action potential generate, how this travel from one portion to another portion of the body, how what are the different type of the neurotransmitter, in which what are the main component. So before understanding that all the things, how action potential generate, how it will propagate some organ, and how it will produce the effect, we have to understood the structure, function and characteristics of the neuron and its structural organization, along with the generation of the action potential and movement of the ion across the membrane. So it is very and vital important things. So one by one we are going to discussing about that one. So if we considering the organization of a nervous system, so in vertebrate you will observe that nervous system, it is basically divided into two part. One is peripheral nervous system, that is known as PNS, and another one that is known as central nervous system or CNS. Basically, the central nervous system, which consists of the brain and spinal cord, is surrounded by the another nervous system called peripheral nervous system, which mainly gather the information from our surrounding and environment, and it's relay the information to the CNS. It then act the signal or decision that are CNS return. So in nervous system we have two type of nervous system, one is peripheral nervous system, one is central nervous system. So the peripheral nervous system basically collecting the information from surrounding part and environment of the body, and it's relay the information to the central nervous system. Then central nervous system decide which type of the decision it will take, then it will reflect back to the peripheral nervous system and the action will taken place. This is the invertebrate system, this is the main thing of the peripheral nervous system as well as central nervous system. So nervous system, if we divided central nervous system, which mainly divided into two part, one is spinal cord, another one is brain. Brain is forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain, and peripheral nervous system, which is divided into further two part, somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system, there is efferent nerve, efferent nerve and afferent nerve, and automatic nervous system, which mainly consists of the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. The peripheral nervous system itself, it consists of two part, somatic and the autonomic. The autonomic system is further divided two part, parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic. The parasympathetic system is responsible for slowing down the heart rate, increase the intestinal gland activity and undertaking action when the body is at rest. Its action, which you can be described as opposite to the sympathetic nervous system, which the sympathetic nervous system, which is mainly responsible for controlling the action associated with the flight or fight response, and parasympathetic, which is mainly responsible at the rest. So the somatic system contains the sensory receptor and motor nerve, which activate the skeletal muscle, and it is concerned with detecting and responding to the environmental stimuli. Now the nervous system, the basic and main component of the nervous system, that is the neuron. The basic main fundamental thing is the neuron. Neuron are the basis information processing structure in the CNS. They are electrically excitable cell that possesses and transmit the information around the nervous system. Neuron transmit information either by electrical or by chemical signaling, which you will see later occur via the synapse. Neuron are the core apparatus of the nervous system, and a number of specialized types are exist. Neuron are very much like to other in our body cell, possessing common feature like other in our body cell, which contain the structural organelles of the body cell. Neuron also contain the that type of the structural organ. Neuron cell also contain the that type of the structural organelle parts of the cell. Neuron are encased in the cell membrane, also known as plasma membrane. The nucleus of the neuron, it's contain chromosome. You can see in normal cell you also get the chromosome, that and genetic information. Nucleus which contain the chromosome and genetic information. In normal cell you also observe that one. It also contain the cytoplasm, mitochondria, basic cellular possession that occur, ribosome which synthesize the protein, Golgi complex, a network of vesicle that get the hormone and other product ready to be secreted. So the other part or normal cell, the neuronal cell also contain this all type of the things. However, neuron or nerve cell are different from the other body cell in that apart from this thing they are differ from our normal body cell. Extension emanate from the central body of the neuron. We refer to this as a dendrites and axons. Dendrites which is basically responsible for the carry the information to the cell body, while axon are mainly responsible for the transmit the information away from the cell body. So dendrite carry the information to the cell body, while axon transmit the information away from the cell body. Neuron transmit and receive information via an electrochemical mechanism. Neuron have some distinct and specialized structure like synapse, the junction between one neuron to the next neuron. Neuron synthesize chemical that basically serve as a neurotransmitter, and you can as well as neuromodulator also. So what is the typical neuron structure? A typical neuron possesses a cell body that we known as soma, dendrites and an axon. Dendrites are filament that emanate from the cell body, branch numerous time and give rise a complex dendrite tree. So if you are observing a tree, you can see that dendrite structure, it is almost similar to a tree. And then come to the an axon. It's like the wire in the electrical cable. If you are observing the electrical cable, it will look like a wire in electrical cable. It start at the cell body at the site called axon hillock and travel to the site in the nervous system where it connect with the another nerve cell or different type of cell such as muscle. The cell body of the neuron frequently give rise to the multiple dendrites but never to more than one. So you can see that this is a tree-like structure, that is the dendrite. In dendrite there is a nucleus, that is the axon start where dendrites ends, that is the cell body. Axon that is covered with the myelin sheath, Schwann cell, nodes of Ranvier, then axon terminal. This is the typical structure of a neuron. And this is the things neuronal cell component, which all are somewhat similar to the our normal cell component, that contain mitochondria, lysosome, nucleus, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum. This all of the things are present in the neuronal cell as when we compare with the normal cell also. Now classification of neuron. As with many things in the nervous system, neuron may be classified into variety of way according to their function: sensor, motor, interneuron, and if you will classify them according to their location, cortical, subcortical, the identity of the neurotransmitter they synthesize and release, cholinergic, glutamatergic, and their synapse, pyramidal, granule, etc. On this way you can categorize or classify it into the neuron in different categories. But here I will discuss only two categories. So one is bipolar, which is similar to retinal cell, to possesses extend from the body of the bipolar neuron. Then there is unipolar. They are the two dorsal root ganglionic axon for each unipolar cell. One axon stretches out in the direction of the spinal cord and other one in the direction of the skin or muscle. Then there is multipolar. Neurons contain many poses that branch out from the cell body. However, here the neurons each only have one axon, that is the example is spinal motor neuron. Now on the another very basic method for the classification of the neuron is identify the way of their work, the way of they are transmitting the information. So they are classified efferent, efferent and interneurons. Efferent neurons, that is also known as motor neuron, this direct information away from the brain towards the muscle and glands. And then there is, we can say that efferent neuron, that is the sensory neuron. This transmit the information to the central nervous system from sensory receptor. From different type of the different part of the body, the sensory receptor are present. They collect the information and transmit to the central nervous system. Then interneuron found in the central nervous system. This pass information between the motor neuron and the sensory neuron. So on this basis we are classifying neuron into two different categories. There are lots of categories are there. We are earlier already I discussed, but here we are mainly focusing on this two type. Then there is a special type of the cell present in neuron, that is called as neuroglial cell, and it has an important role in the transmission and all other activity related to the neuron. The glial cell are simply the so-called glue, as the name implies, by which nervous system is held together. Neuroglial cell are the other major cell type in neuron tissue. They basically provide you the structural integrity and the nutrition to the nervous system. So the glial cell or neuroglial cell, which are mainly responsible for the providing structural integrity and nutrition to the nervous system and maintaining the homeostasis. While some glial cell physically support the other cell and other control the internal environment surrounding neuron or nerve cell and provide them with nutrient. Glial cells are also involved in cortical development, the guidance of the neuron and the growth of the axon and dendrites, and are crucial in the development of the nervous system. Because glial cells do not form synapse, it was thought that they were merely the housekeeper of the nervous system. So you can say that the glial cell, which is the housekeeper of the nervous system, it is required to maintain neuron but not involved in the processing of the transmission of the information. However, a recent study indicated that has been some changes in this assumption. There is a discovery that one type of the glial cell, oligodendrocyte precursor cell, is involved in the synaptic signaling in the hippocampus. This is the recent development, and this discovery will help us to identify that the glial cell are also involved in the signaling. So it is only in case of hippocampus we are finding that more finding is required and more data we will require to establish that the glial cell are responsible for also signaling the transmission. Now types of glial cell. A number of different types of glial cell are exist. Some can be found in the central nervous system and some you can found in the peripheral nervous system. So astrocytes. this is you will found this glial cell into the central nervous system. It is basically responsible for maintaining the external chemical environment around the nerve cell. So, it will maintain the external environment around the nerve cell. They do so by disposing the surplus ion, particularly potassium chloride, and reprocessing, recycling the neurotransmitter that were released during the synaptic transmission. So, basically by the maintaining with the ionic movement, by the maintaining of the neurotransmitter that was released and reuptake, these cells are maintaining the integrity and of the nerve cell of the central nervous system. Then there is another type, that is oligodendrocyte, that is also found in CNS. Oligodendrocytes surround axon in the CNS, form a myelin sheath, which in the diagram I will already discussed that there is a myelin sheath that insulated the axon and makes it possible for the electrical signal to be generated and propagated more effectively. So, oligodendrocyte, a glial cell present in the CNS, which mainly insulated the axon and forming the myelin sheath. This will help to or it will help to electrical signal to be generated and propagated more effectively from one neuron to another neuron and one neuron to the affective cell also. One oligodendrocyte is capable of coating as many as 50 axons. Myelin, which is white in color, increases the speed at which action potential are sent along an axon. The sheath of myelin that cover the axon have gap between them. This gap is referred to as node of Ranvier. It is at this gap that ion can cross the membrane and action potential can occur. So, nodes of Ranvier where ion can move and action potential can occur. Thus, the action potential jumps from one node to the another, next enabling action potential to travel along to the myelinated axon quicker than along their unmyelinated counterparts. Cognition and behavior are affected by the myelin loss with the CNS and demyelinating disorder of the multiple sclerosis. Then Schwann cell, that is found in the peripheral nervous system. The cell in the peripheral nervous system that functionally equivalent to the oligodendrocyte in the CNS. The Schwann cell only insulated one discrete axon. Schwann cell are specialized type of the glial cell that provide myelin insulation to the axon in the peripheral nervous system. So, in central nervous system, oligodendrocyte is responsible for the providing myelinated sheath, and peripheral nervous system, Schwann cell is responsible for the providing the myelinated sheath. Non-myelinated Schwann cell have a role to play the maintaining the axon and have a critical role for the neuronal survival. Microglia, that is you also found in CNS. Microglia, these are a typical glial cell that serve the CNS immunosystem, defense system of the CNS, and are also specialized macrophages. Microglia are important protector defense mechanism of the central nervous system and guard support the neuron of the CNS using a process called phagocytosis. They actively clean the waste from the nervous system. Microglial cells are not derived from the ectodermal tissue like other glial cell, but instead derived embryologically from the hematopoietic precursor, which are multipotent stem cell producing all type of the blood cell. Microglia are found in all part of the brain and spinal cord and they comprise approximately 15 to 70% of the all of the cell of the CNS. Microglia continually sample their surrounding and multiply in response to the brain injury. If there is a brain injury, then there is a multiplication is higher. Microglia are thought to be a factor in neurodegenerative disorder like multiple sclerosis, motor neuron disease, Alzheimer's disease. These cells are also responsible for creating the inflammatory response to brain trauma, and they are the main target cell for the HIV-1 virus in the central nervous system. Then there is radial glial cell that is also found in CNS. Basically they are temporary cell population present only in the developing central nervous system. They are function both as a precursor cell and as a scaffolding framework to support the neuron migration. Now information exchange into the nervous system. How information are exchanged into the nervous system? Neurons constantly relay the information between each other and also between themselves and their environment. So neuron, they are continuously receiving the information and passing on the information to each other, and then in between also them they are also transmitting the this information. So the transmitted information from cell using the different forms. These different forms are axon to dendrite, axodendritic exchange, axon to cell body, axomatic exchange, axon to axon, axonic exchange, dendrite to dendrite, dendrodendritic exchange. So these are the way how neurons are exchange the information from each other. Now come to the resting membrane potential, which is very crucial and very important. What is resting membrane potential? It is also known as resting voltage of the cell. So the resting potential of the cell is the membrane potential that is maintained if there are no action potential or synaptic potential present. So when means you are in rest. If there is a action potential or synaptic potential are present, that time you can't take rest. That time there is a propagation, generation of the signal, then nerve impulse that will transmit and that will go through and work in the different part of the body. So resting means when there is no action potential or no synaptic potential are present, that is called resting potential. The intracellular fluid of a neuron at rest is more negatively charged than the extracellular fluid. If you considering the intracellular and extracellular fluid, so the intracellular fluid is negatively charged, but the outside the cell, the extracellular fluid, that is positively charged. Difference in term in the resting potential. The resting membrane potential of a neuron is about minus 70 millivolt. This means that the inside of the neuron is 70 millivolt less than the outside. Means outside is positive, inside is negative. The disparity between voltage across the cell membrane is due to the fact that there is a higher concentration of positive ion outside the cell as compared to the inside the cell. There is approximately 10 times more sodium ion are on outside the cell and approximately 20 times more potassium on inside the cell. This is frequently called as the cell concentration gradient. So resting potential, which is also come to know that cell concentration gradient. This property of the membrane, and there is a sodium potassium pump is particularly responsible for the distribution or exchange of the ion from intracellular portion to the extracellular portion. As the membrane is semi-permeable to the molecule like water, oxygen, urea, carbon dioxide can cross easily the cell membrane, whereas larger or electrically charged ion or molecule generally cannot. Certain ion like potassium, chloride, sodium, for entering or for uh, entering the cell, for excreting the cell, they need the specific channel of protein which is made up of protein, that is called ion channel, which are located in the membrane and regulate how fast the ion can move from inside or outside. Through drawn to the negative interior of the nerve cell, the sodium gate stays shut until the membrane is depolarized. Means sodium gate are not open until there is a depolarization. So if depolarization, then sodium gate will open. That I will discuss in action potential. In action potential, you will get more idea about the exchange of ion. As a result, there is an increase in the concentration of the sodium ion outside the membrane. The greater concentration of the potassium ion inside the membrane can cross the membrane at a regulated rate by passively diffusing out of the cell, because they are drawn to a region of lesser concentration, because inside the cell there is a higher concentration of the potassium ion, but outside the cell there is a lesser concentration. So as per concentration gradient, they passively diffuse from the cell, and they remain however held by negative. However, the internal environment of the neuron cell, that is always negative. Potassium ion are returned to the inside the membrane via the sodium potassium pump, which utilize the energy or adenosine triphosphate supplied by the adenosine triphosphate. Other ions that have a negative charge, such as chloride, also cross the membrane at a controlled rate. This help in maintaining the negative interior. As a result, the resting potential is sustained by the sodium being held out of the cell while potassium diffuse out, only to be brought back into the cell. 3 sodium ions are actively removed from the cell by sodium potassium pump for every potassium ion that are allowed to enter. Means if one potassium ion enter the cell, there is a removal of the 3 sodium ion. So in this manner, in this phase, they are maintaining the resting membrane potential. Now come to the action potential and generation of the nerve impulse. So the membrane as the resting potential is present when the neuron is rest. In the resting condition, the membrane of the neuron, it is also in its resting condition. However, when our nervous system transmit an information, a action potential or a nerve impulse occur. And action potential is a short-term event in which the electrical membrane potential of a cell rapidly increase and fall. Positive ion flowing into the cell will reduce the negative charge and thus reduce the charge across the entire membrane. We refer to this as depolarization. Means in case of resting, what we will see that the inside the cell or nerve cell, there is the negative charge, the outside there is positively charged. But when an action potential, membrane potential is rapidly increase or fall, so in that case positive ion are entering inside the cell and it will create the positive environment inside the cell. When the positive environment creating inside the cell, that term, that is there is a depolarization. When depolarization gets to around 55 to 60 millivolt, that is called tipping point, a neuron will give off an action potential. So when depolarization means positive charge is in an around 55 millivolt or 60 millivolt, that time a neuron will capable of generating an action potential. No action potential will fire if the neuron do not reach the threshold level. Once the threshold value is reached, an action potential of a fixed size will always fire, and for any given neuron the size of the action potential is always the same. Often this is referred to as all or nothing principle. The exchange of ion across the neuron membrane causes nerve impulse or generating the nerve impulse or action potential to take place. A stimulus, for example, touch receptor first causes sodium channel to open, and because there is many more sodium ion on the outside and the inside of the neuron is negative relative to the outside, sodium enter the neuron, thus the neuron become both more positive, and then there is a depolarization, then potassium channel open, they take bit more time as compared to the sodium channel, and potassium rushes out of the cell, potassium go outside the cell, reserving the depolarization. When sodium enter, the membrane potential increase, and when potassium exists, it drop sharply back down, giving rise to the alternative name for this potential, the spike potential. Sodium channel then start to go back to their normal closed state. Means after depolarization, now sodium channel are start to go back to their normal or closed state, which causes the action potential to revert towards -70 millivolt. That is called repolarization. However, the membrane potential actually move past -70 millivolt to nearly -80 millivolt, a hyperpolarization, due to the potassium channel remaining open just a bit too long. Ion concentration will steadily return to the resting membrane, and the cell will return to the -70 millivolt. That is the resting membrane potential. For a short period in the middle of the action potential, the neuron is totally resistant to the additional stimulation. This is known as the absolute refractory period. Means in a short period in the middle of the action potential, the neuron is totally resistant to the additional stimulus. Means that time if you are providing additional stimulation, it will not capable of generating the action potential. That is called absolute refractory period, where the neuron cannot make another action potential. The absolute refractory period proceed another brief period known as the relative refractory period, during which a neuron can generate another action potential, but the stimulus must be the greater intensity at the than normal. So whatever the stimulus you are providing, the stimulus must be, the intensity of the stimulus must be higher than normal. Then only in relative refractory period you can capable of generating an action potential. So this is, you can see that this is -70 millivolt, that is the resting membrane potential. Then there is gate threshold, sodium channel open, there is a depolarization. After that when it is +30 near about, sodium get closed and potassium get open. Potassium are now entering inside, one potassium entering inside, removing 3 sodium outside. So there is a repolarization occur. After repolarization, they will get the hyper repolarization, then it will reaches the further resting potential. In between them there is a refractory period. One is already I discussed, one is absolute, where you are not able to generate any nerve impulse, but then there is a relative refractory period. In this case, if the threshold is more intense than the normal, then there is a generation of the action potential. This is the diagrammatical representation of the generation of the action potential, depolarization, hyperpolarization, and resting membrane potential. One anatomical part of the neuron that connect the cell body to the axon is termed as the axon hillock. And it is here the inhibitory postsynaptic potential, IPSP, and excitatory postsynaptic potential, EPSP, from various synaptic input on the dendrites or the cell body accumulate. From the axon hillock, an action potential moves along the axon in the form of a nerve impulse. So dendrite collect. Now it's come to the action. From the axon, it will travel through a nerve impulse. The acceleration of transmission is different in all axon and is separate from the stimulus intensity. Actually, the propagation speed is depending on the three things: the measurement of the axon diameter, whether or not the axon is coated with the myelin sheet or not, and how many synapses are there. If everything else is the same, action potential are quicker in axon that are large in diameter and usually travel at a speed ranging between 10 to 100 ms. Myelinated axon are send information faster than the unmyelinated axon, and the number of synapses en route will also affect the propagation rate. The more synapses, the slower the propagation rate. When an action potential happen, sodium ion travel along the inside of the cell membrane, depolarizing the segment of the membrane, and then lies just ahead. The thicker the axon is, the faster the sodium ion move along the membrane, similar the way in which water flow faster through a large bore pipe. Earlier we discussed how several axons in the nervous system have a myelin coating, which was formed by the specific type of the glial cell. The myelinated segments together are better known as the myelin sheath, and the segments are divided by small spaces known as the nodes of Ranvier. The nodes gap are the only location where the cell membrane has any exposure to the extracellular fluid. In addition, they also contain the ion channel, where ion can move into and out of the cell and responds to the depolarizing stimulus, causing the action potential to jump from one node to the another node. This process of the action potential appearing to jump along the length of an axon while at the same time speeding up the propagation of the nerve impulse is referred to as saltatory conduction. Myelinated axon transfer information at a much higher speed, 100 ms, than unmyelinated axon, which normally have an action potential of 1 ms. Thus, the process of the saltatory conduction mitigates the necessity of an increase in axon diameter and enable a reduction in the size of the nervous system in organisms. Now come to the summation effect. What is the summation effect? Neuron receive multiple excitatory and inhibitory inputs on a continuous basis. The determination of whether the axon will fire or not, it is totally based on the total effect of the all excitatory and inhibitory that take place. Means neuron are continuously receiving the inhibitory as well as excitatory stimuli, but if the axon will fire or not, that will depend the effect of excitation or inhibition that take place. So at what point is an action potential produced? So the EPSP and IPSP received by the dendrites and the excitatory impulse and inhibitory impulse that received by the dendrites and the cell bodies of the neuron are graded potential. As discussed above, each excitatory result in a depolarization and each inhibitory result is an hyperpolarization of the postsynaptic membrane. These various excitatory values at different time are added together and produce a combined level of depolarization, while the inhibitory combined in the same manner and to produce a combined level of the hyperpolarization. The method of introducing both the positive and negative influences on the cell membrane is called summation. Special summation occur when excitatory potential from lots of different presynaptic neuron causes the postsynaptic neuron to reach its threshold and fire. Means when all the impulses are uh, propagated, that you will go and fire. Temporal summation occur when a signal presynaptic neuron fires many times as the succession, causing the postsynaptic neuron to reach its threshold and fire. Here temporal summation means only one signal will continuously triggering up. If one signal will continuously triggering up, then it will stimulate the postsynaptic neuron to reach its threshold and fire up. Then synaptic transmission. The discovery that neurons do not physically merge began. So discovery is there. They discussed that the neuron are not merged began. In the late 1900s, when Ramon Kessel observed a narrow gap separating one neuron from the next. So Ramon Kessel observed there is a narrow gap which separating one neuron from the another one. In 1906, Sir Charles Scott Sherrington identified that synaptic delay. Means there is a typically 0.3 to 0.5 millisecond time is required from transmit one signal from one to another, and concluded that a certain form of communication occur in this at this gap between nerve cell. He called this point of communication is synapse. Today, this junction through which the neuronal cells signal to each other and to non-neuronal cells like those found in muscle or gland are still known as synapse. Synapse make it possible for the nerve cell in the central nervous system to create interconnected neuronal circuit or network. The synapse comprises a synaptic terminal, a nerve cell that transmit information, or the presynaptic ending, a nerve cell that receive the information, postsynaptic ending, and a gap between them which is known as the synaptic cleft. Now in this picture you can see that number 1, the action potential reaches the presynaptic terminal, action potential. Then there is a depolarization of the presynaptic terminal, open ion channel allowing calcium ion enter inside the cell. Calcium triggered the release of neurotransmitter from the vesicle. Vesicle neurotransmitter are stored. Neurotransmitter bind to the receptor site on the postsynaptic membrane, postsynaptic channel. Opening and closing of the channel causes the changes in the postsynaptic membrane potential. Action potential propagate through the next cell, and then the neurotransmitter is inactivated or transported back into the presynaptic terminal. So here how a action potential generated and a neurotransmitter release after functioning of that, after the role what of that particular neurotransmitter which having a specific role. After doing his role, this neurotransmitter are get inactivated or reuptake into the presynaptic terminal. So this is the total scenario. Communication across the synapse are facilitated by the neurotransmitter. Chemicals that are synthesized by the neuron and utilized to engage in the communication with other cell. The presynaptic ending or synaptic terminal, also known as synaptic knob, button, holds cell organelles like mitochondria and neurotransmitter. The neuron sending the impulse trigger the migration of vesicle which contain, means neuron sending the impulse or action potential which trigger the migration movement of the vesicle which contain the neurotransmitter to the membrane of the synaptic terminal. In synaptic terminal there is a specific vesicle which contain this neurotransmitter. The vesicle membrane then fuse with the presynaptic membrane and neurotransmitter is released into the synaptic cleft, a gap of width approximately 20 nanometer. It then bind to the receptor of the connecting cell and this excite or inhibit the electrical impulse. The region of the synapse that release neurotransmitter, that is called as active zone. Here cell adhesion molecule keep the membrane of the pair of neighboring cell close to one another. The presynaptic cell may be a muscle cell or a gland, not just another neuron. Now synaptic vesicle. When an action potential arrives at the presynaptic terminal, you go to the remember the picture where an action potential is arise. Then there is a opening of the calcium channel. Calcium now enter inside the cell. This calcium influx causes the movement and fusion of the secretory vesicle. Means this calcium directly influence of the vesicle which store the neurotransmitter in the cell membrane. The process is known as exocytosis. Within the presynaptic cell, vesicle holding neurotransmitter are placed or locked in the synaptic membrane. Protein in the presynaptic terminal referred to as SNARES control the fusion of the vesicle. The arriving action potential leads to a defined amount, means a quantum, a definite amount or certain amount of neurotransmitter to be released into the synaptic cleft. The neurotransmitter molecule then travel across the synaptic cleft by diffusion to particular receptor site on the presynaptic membrane, opening ion channel in the postsynaptic cell membrane. This result in the ionic movement, which consequently modify the cell local transmembrane potential and leads to the changes in the potential of the postsynaptic cell or postsynaptic potential. Usually within the nervous system, the result is an excitatory reaction as a result of depolarization or an inhibitory reaction, that is a result of the hyperpolarization. The response of the synapse and whether it is excitatory or inhibitory, it's depend upon the type of the receptor, type of the neurotransmitter that are released by the particular synapse. It is also possible for a neurotransmitter to inhibit its own nerve cell. It sometimes happen that the neurotransmitter not only bind to the postsynaptic receptor, but sometimes it is also bind to the presynaptic receptor, that is known as autoreceptor. These autoreceptors are located at the presynaptic nerve cell membrane and serve as a part of the feedback loop in signal transduction. It is possible to deactivate the influence of the neurotransmitter molecule on the postsynaptic membrane through enzymatic degradation, as in the case of, you can see that acetylcholinesterase, or in some other neurotransmitter via neurotransmitter reuptake. So what happen if some cases presynaptic membrane also contains some receptor and postsynaptic membrane already having receptor. So sometime the neurotransmitter that is releasing that sometime bind to the presynaptic membrane and they will enzymatically degrade the neurotransmitter so that you will not get the result at the postsynaptic end. That is the neurotransmitter that own itself they block their activity. Non-synaptic chemical communication. While neurotransmitters are released from the terminal button and have a local effect, neuromodulator, another communication substance released by the neuron, travel greater distance and are disappear more widely around the nervous system. Most neuromodulators are peptide, which are chain of the amino acid linked together by the peptide bond. Neuromodulators affect the general behavioral state such as vigilance and fearfulness. This is the non-synaptic chemical communication that occurs through the neuromodulator, which is basically made up of amino acid linked with the peptide bond. Then there is hormone, which is also plays an crucial role in the communication of information around our bodies. Hormone are chemical substance that are secreted the cell of the endocrine gland or cell in the organ such as stomach, kidney. Most hormones fall into different categories: amino acid derivative, peptide, protein, and steroid. The endocrine system, hormones are released by the endocrine gland into the extracellular fluid and are then distributed through the bloodstream. There is a specialized receptor bind to that specialized receptor and shown up their action. Some example here are adrenal gland that secrete the hormone which plays a role in the body's reaction to the stressful event, adrenaline. Then there is ovaries and testicles influence the female and male characteristics. Pituitary gland regulation of the other endocrine gland. Then there is a pancreas which secrete insulin, which having the role of disease in diabetes. Then postsynaptic receptor and receptor type. The effect of neurotransmitter is seen on the postsynaptic membrane, where the release of neurotransmitter result in rapid opening of the ion channel, involving in a kind of receptor called inotropic receptor or channel link receptor. Within this sort of receptor, the ion channel open directly and the neurotransmitter alone is involved in the information transfer. Metabotropic receptor or G-protein link receptor are another type of the receptor. So in postsynaptic part there is a either ion channel receptor, neither metabotropic or G-protein couple receptor. In this case, in ion channel receptor, the ion channel are opening directly, but in case of the G-protein couple receptor, you can go through the second messenger, third messenger. After that, there is a opening and closing of the ion channel, and you will get the result or action. This is referred to G-protein trigger the production of another chemical that is known as second messenger. This second messenger triggered the opening of ion channel in the postsynaptic membrane. One of these second messenger is cyclic adenosine monophosphate, which is synthesized adenosine triphosphate, cyclic AMP, which is essential to the memory formation process and may also play a role in the sedative effect of the ethanol. It's just an example, and there are other type of the things are there. We already in G-protein couple receptor what are the different second messenger and third messenger are there. The feature of the inotropic receptor are they are sometimes called ligand gated ion channel. Action is instant and short. The channel in the excitatory receptor are positively charged ion, otherwise known as cation. Depolarization is achieved mostly by the sodium. Hyperpolarization is achieved by the chloride or potassium efflux permitting the inhibitory action. Metabotropic or G-protein receptor are not direct and can have wide sphere action, which are often prolonged. An example is muscarinic acetylcholine receptor. There are lots of examples are there, you can go through. Now come to the neurotransmitter. We can categorize neurotransmitter into two broad grouping: the classical small molecule neurotransmitter and the large neuropeptide neurotransmitter. Among neurotransmitter in the category of the small molecule neurotransmitter, there is a group termed as monoamines. These include dopamine, noradrenaline, serotonin, which are often looked upon as unique group due to their correlation in terms of their chemical makeup. The criteria for classifying a biochemical substance as a neurotransmitter are: the substance has to be packaged into synaptic vesicle and to be present in the presynaptic nerve terminal. On depolarization or an arrival of action potential at the presynaptic membrane, this substance must be released from the nerve terminal with bind with the specific receptor for their substance, which must be available on the postsynaptic membrane. So now neurotransmitter, uh, you can classify large molecule, endogenous opioid, substance P, oxytocin, antidiuretic hormone, cholecystokine, soluble gases, nitric oxide, carbon monoxide, then there is acetylcholine, then small molecule, monoamines and amino acid, monoamines which are further divided into catecholamines and endoamines, catecholamines, dopamine, adrenaline, noradrenaline, endoamines, serotonin, melatonin, and amino acid, that is GABA, glycine, glutamate and aspartate. Neurotransmitter act in two ways, either direct, neither indirect. In direct action, the neurotransmitter open the ion channel by binding to the specific channel linked receptor. This causes the very fast response. Example are amino acid and acetylcholine esterase. And in case of indirect action, the action takes place via the G protein coupled receptor, and when the neurotransmitter bind, it causes a cascade of intercellular activation of second messenger system. This generally has long lasting effect. Example are the soluble gases such as nitric oxide and neuropeptides. The major types of the neurotransmitter are described in the following section. So later on I will discuss GABA, glutamate. There is different excitatory and inhibitory neurotransmitter. Regarding this, in next class I will discuss about that. And this is the information what in this presentation I am describing. I am collecting the information via these sources. And thank you. If you have any doubt or anything else, you can contact. So let's go through the presentation, and if any doubt or anything, you can contact. Thank you.